Hello, I am Minecraft Phenom 08, and this is episode 9 of my Billions and Billions challenge. In today's episode, I will be upgrading my ME system in the basement of this building here so that it can automatically make processors for the mod Applied Energistics 2. So let's get started. First off, I have dug a little area beneath this system because I'm going to be using that, and let's get started crafting. So the first thing that I actually need to craft that I haven't crafted yet is an ME controller. It requires skystone blocks, pure flux crystals, and engineering processors. Now I've actually made these pure flux crystals in this fashion right here. I have used a phytogenic isolator with flux seeds and glowstone dust in combination with water as well to make the pure flux crystals and some pure certus crystals as well. The default way to actually make those is to get the seeds that this recipe actually requires and then throw it in water and wait several hours. But I didn't want to wait several hours, so I just used a phytogenic isolator instead. And so let's go ahead and make one ME controller block. Now the ME controller block can actually replace the energy acceptor right here, so that's what I'm going to do with it right here. I'm going to just place it right there. And as you can see, between episodes, I actually created an energy cell for my system. So let's go ahead and throw that energy cell back onto the system. I can put it back here. I think is a good spot for it. And it did have some power in it, so it did fire up the Applied Energistics system. Right now, the energy cell is not active. I will probably... Actually, I think... yeah, I'll probably be moving this energy cell at some point in this episode. But for right now, I'm just going to leave it where it's at. So how I need to make the system to make automatic processors is I'm going to be using export buses, import buses, and 5 individual inscribers. So let's go ahead and duck back down here, and let's go ahead and select some locations for my inscribers. I think the best thing to do would probably be to first off get some glass fiber cable or glass flux cable here, and just run it along the ceiling here. So I think I'm going to have one here, and then one here. And so the other side needs to be the same. So my inscribers are going to be here, 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 and here. I think that's a good place for all of them. So 4 of these inscribers will be doing essentially the same thing, just with different components. Let's actually do this in a different order. Let's do the silicon press over here. Let's do the logic press right here. Let's do the engineering press here and the calculation press here. And what I need to do now is I need to set up export buses. And so let's go ahead and set those up here, 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 and here. So now what I need to do is I need to tell the export buses to export the proper materials. And this is the silicon press, so it needs to actually get silicon. So let's do that there. This one is the logic press, so it needs gold. This one is the engineering press, so it needs diamonds. And this one is the calculation press, so it needs pure certus quartz crystals. So now what I need to do is I need to actually hook up those export buses like so. And I'm actually going to have to redo this circuitry, it looks like. That's not super going to be a problem, I don't think. Actually, I'm going to need to move that ME controller. I can see that right now. So let's go ahead and do that before I go any further here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to drop one cable down here, and then I'm going to put the ME controller here. And that's because I have a limited amount of channels that I can use off of each of these, each of the lines of glass. ME glass cable coming off of the controller. I only have 8 channels, so each connection that uses or that can input or output items actually requires a connection here. And as you can see, it's actually already making some of these printed silicon circuits because this export bus is active. But for example, on this line, I only have the 2 export buses hooked up. I do need to hook up some import buses, so let's go ahead and do that right now. So import bus there, there, and there. So there we go, and then I can just go ahead and hook them up by doing that real fast. Okay, so each side now has 4 channels that it's using, 2 import buses, 2 export buses. So this line has 4 channels being used, and this line also has 4 channels being used. So now I think what I'm going to do is, I think out the back is where I'm actually going to have my last one. So I actually just took away the power from the system, but that's okay for right now. Let's go ahead and pick up this energy cell if I can for right now as well, because I might need that space. And actually, indeed, I'm pretty sure I do, because I think the best way to do this is going, actually, I think the best way to do this is going to be to put the energy cell here. I'm going to be output to the back. It will be redstone control on. And then I can go ahead and put this energy cell back. Where was I? I think that'll work just fine. Actually, I'm not 100% sure. That will be just fine. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put it right here, I think. Yes, right there. I think that'll be best, because I think what I want to do is I want to run out the back here is where I want to make my last connection. And if I do an inscriber, my last inscriber is going to be the inscriber that actually makes the different circuits themselves, or not circuits, but the actual processors themselves. So I think that'll work just fine. I'm going to need to kind of wrap around like this, but that's cool. Actually, no, that won't work. Actually, this will work. I just need to do something like this. Okay, so what I need to do for this last one is I actually need to set up 3 export buses and 1 import bus all on this inscriber. So an export bus on the top, side, and bottom is how we need to do this. And then the import bus needs to be in the side. And then the 5th connection needs to be to provide energy to the inscriber, and that is already done through the back right here. So now what I need to do is on the bottom, I actually need to have it output printed silicon. And I should have some in my system right now, so let's take a look if we do. We do, so that's fantastic. And then actually what I want to do right now is let's go ahead and throw the diamonds, PR Certus, and gold ingots into my system here so that it can start making some of the printed circuits. And as you can see, I have a printed circuit here, a printed circuit. Actually, I already set up all those export buses. That's my bad. So I think that's good. So what I need to do now is in this inscriber right here, the top export bus needs to that's going to be the last one I'm going to set up. The bottom one is going to export printed silicon in there. And so we have printed silicon in the bottom right here. This one can be redstone, and let's actually throw our redstone into the system here. And there's already some redstone in the system. I forgot about that, but that's okay. And then the top one actually needs a expansion card, or a capacity card rather. And I already have that because right now I can only use this export bus to export one thing at a time. Now I can do up to 5 different things. So let's tell it to export those things. And then this should start making processors. So that's fantastic. Anytime the system has the ingredients to actually make the processors from Applied Energistics, it will do so. So I believe this is all set up and ready to go. So let's go ahead and finish setting up the energy cell here. Right now it's not outputting energy because I am telling it that it will only output energy when it gets a redstone signal. I believe that if I go ahead and put a block of stone here and a lever on top of that block of stone, it should be able to activate it. So let's see if that is the case. It is the case, so that's fantastic. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to empty my inventory of all of the things that need to go into this Applied Energistics system. And then there is one last thing I would like to do in this episode, and then I'm going to call it good. Even though I haven't done a whole lot in this episode, this is pretty integral to me being able to build a larger system in the future, because making processors by hand is just really, really slow. So let's go ahead and make a crafting terminal. So let's take a look at what that requires. I should have everything I need, and I actually need to type that up here. So my crafting terminal is made with a calculation processor, a crafting table, which I have right here, and a terminal, which I actually have right behind me. So let's grab this, and then I need to get a calculation processor if I have one made. If I don't, I can go ahead and force it to make one. And by that I mean all I need to do is take that out and put one of these in here, and then I will get a calculation processor. So there's my calculation processor, and then I need to grab this terminal. And this craft is a small 2x2 craft, so that is not a problem. And now I have a crafting terminal. What that crafting terminal will allow me to do is make things. If I have the ingredients in the system right here, I can just make them without needing a crafting table. And that is really, really going to be very useful. So I think that's a good wrapping up point. I know I didn't get a whole lot done in this episode, but like I said, this is a pretty essential mechanism that I need to progress, so I went ahead and made it. So in today's episode, I set up this ME system right here to be able to make processors automatically from the mod Applied Energistics 2. It is already running and functioning and making lots of processors. It will continue to do so as long as it has the ingredients, so that is pretty fantastic. I do have a lot of diamonds and gold and Certus, as well as redstone. I can make silicon pretty easily as well, so I can go ahead and make a lot of processors in between episodes so that I can set up a proper ME system for my main base, because this is just kind of a tertiary system that will allow me to automatically make processors on demand. So if you enjoyed today's episode, feel free to drop a like down below, and if you like watching automation-based builds in modern Minecraft, consider subscribing to my channel if you haven't already. Anyways, signing off, I am Minecraft Phenom 08, and I will see you next time.